first I do want to say is for those of you guys who are like Bad Bunny, he's cool and all, but I can't even tell what he's saying. So just know he's currently like just behind Taylor Swift in most all-time streams. Taylor Swift's at like 106 billion in streams on Spotify. Bad Bunny's at like 92 or 96.
Yeah, I
So
put that over in the comments. He's literally the number two most streamed artist in Spotify.
of all time, which is crazy because like you take the kid, the guys are my age. I think he's literally like 30, 31. He started rapping and singing reggaeton as a grocery store bagger, and he did it on the side in the streets of Puerto Rico. And then 3 years later, he kind of hits the big time. He was a good writer. So his first album ever, he was like all the raps he wrote in his little book. And then obviously now he's just this, he's probably the biggest Latin artist to ever come to us ever. Is kind of where we're at this point. So, but let's have some fun with it. So I just put in into chat. The first thing I want you guys to do is sometimes I know that we all kind of find ourselves in a place where, maybe there's a level of like stress or composure or fear or anxiety that like kind of takes over. And there's kind of two places that it can come into, right? One area, it might be debilitating, but the other area that I want to really talk to you guys about is finding a way to actually make it to motivate you. Because here's the one thing that I wanted you guys to know is I put that YouTube video that helped me a long time ago how to turn stress and like kind of this feeling of apprehension into actual energy and motivation. Okay. Because here's the thing, guys, we're all human, we're all people. How is it that there are athletes, there are people, there are presidents, there are tons of other individuals that can go through very hard situations, high stress environments, and yet they still perform? They don't shrink. They have to make the decisions or do what's necessary to get to wherever they got to go, right? That video really talks about utilizing stress in your body to not shrink, but to grow. And I think that is a huge skill set if anybody can learn it on how to basically allow yourself to kind of grow through those moments and realize that when you feel that moment of stress, that's your body preparing you for to kind of do something. So it's right here, Rodion. Just posted it again for you. Go ahead and take a peek at it. So that's the first thing I want to do. So the second thing I want to talk to you guys about is the tale of my two grandmas. Okay, so I've been lucky enough. I don't know any of my grandfathers. Never did, never have. Don't even know their names. But I was very fortunate to have great role models between all the females in my life and highly raised by all of them. It's funny, my dad is the only boy out of his whole family. He's got five siblings. My grandma has two girls, and so my mom and my aunt, and then my aunt has two girls. So like my whole life has just been surrounded by women. Right? That's just, and I've had incredible role models through that. But I want you guys to know this, and I want to be a little real for a moment. Is you ever wondered why you have this feeling of like low energy? Like maybe it's just hard to do the work and maybe do the work that's necessary. Or maybe you're kind of like sitting in this pit of anxiety or, this feeling of depression likes to seep in and out, steals your energy here and there. Maybe it's overstimulation, right? I don't really believe in overwhelm anymore. I think it's an overused word. Overstimulation is a real thing though, and you got to learn to sift through it all and focus on the one thing. But I can tell you guys this, it's not that you're low energy, it's just you're unmotivated. And you've got to find the thing that is going to motivate you to actually go out there and do some things that are necessary to get what needs to get done. So let me tell you a couple stories. So I'm going to start first with my grandma from New York City. Okay. So my grandma from New York City, Mama is her name. She was born and raised in the DR. She is now 91, I think, at this point. Okay. My family fully immigrated from the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. Okay. Dad was the only one born over here in the States. But I'm going to tell you guys, like when she came over here for a better life for our whole family. That was kind of the decision. That was the goal. That was the opportunity. And where Mama had to start was cleaning apartments, okay, from about 4 o'clock in the morning until about anywhere between 10 to 11:30 at night. She would then go to sleep, wake up the next day, and do it all over again. See, from Mama, be able to work like that from 4 o'clock until 10, 11:30. She was doing this because she had to leave all of her kids, all of my dad's siblings in the Dominican Republic to be able to come over here as the first one to work hard enough to be able to go and bring all of them over one by one. And so I tell you this to kind of then get to this next point is that as she worked, the time frame that this happened, I'm going to give you guys some illustration behind it, is like it started with Mama, then she's out cleaning apartments. My Tío Blanco, he was the one who when actually then after she brought him over, he would then fix the apartments as like a handyman. So she would clean and then he would fix them. And they would repeated this process. My dad was born before they could get any of the other siblings back across. So what did Mama do? She put my dad on a plane and sent him to the Dominican Republic to go live with her sister for 5 years. See, for 5 years, my Mama didn't see her kids. See, for 5 years, Mama woke up at 4:30 in the morning and went to work and worked from 4:30 until 11:30 every single day for 5 years, cleaning apartments. See, I don't think it's low energy. I just think you're unmotivated. See, for 5 years after she was able to bring all the kids across, she has lived in the same apartment now in New York City, Uptown Manhattan, Washington Heights. All the energy, all the Dominican vibes. You can go with like look across the street. You got the bodega. You got the guys cutting up at the barber shop that are just literally hanging there. Don't even need a haircut no more. And it's like it's got everything on the street, people peddling, bootleg CDs, everything like that. You name it, they got it. And then you got like John's Fried Chicken on the corner. It's hilarious. So 5 years that happened. And I remember I was sitting with my mom, it was Thanksgiving, I was just chatting with her, and like per usual, my Tío Miguel, he owns like a little grocery store, a little bodega, and he'll bring my mom lottery scratchers. And that's just her thing. She likes to just hit the lottery scratchers, scratches them off, and she wins, great. She doesn't, great. But I'm chatting with her, and I'm asking her to kind of tell me this story. And she doesn't like to really get into it a whole ton, but one, then it kind of got to where she was talking to us about or talking to me about how she got legalized and how to get that done and what it took. And she said she had to go, if you know anything about New York City, to go from the north side of Manhattan down to the south side, which is like the financial district, Wall Street, all that stuff, it's going to take like a good solid hour or so on the train with multiple little transfers here and there. Like it's a good distance, okay? Um, but here's the thing I never mentioned. Mama's illiterate. She can't read and she can't write. So I asked her one time, I'm like, Mama, you ain't got your legalized. They had some special deal or something going on that she had to go to on Thanksgiving Day to the immigration center and she could basically get her citizenship nearly the same day. I was like, Mama, how'd you go from uptown Manhattan, Washington Heights, down to the financial district without being able to read a single sign? She goes, Oh, mijo, puedo contar. I can count. And all the streets are numbered 75th, 111th. She's like, I just went through it like that. And she's like, and I understood, oh, there's a coffee shop. I also just looked at the photos of stuff. She could understand that. But I was just like, holy smokes. You're telling me this woman for 5 years cleaned apartments, riding up and down the subway trains, working 4:30 to 11:30, completely illiterate. was able to do that, and she's 91 now and still can't read or write to this day. But we can't make some dials, but we can't decide that we want to build a skill set that could last a lifetime. But we can't decide that we want to go out there and develop ourselves enough to actually build a business or have the hard conversations that are necessary with our mentors or our agents to be better, or that we go shrink and need to go detox or de-stress or find ourselves a place to just settle down from the overwhelm of life. Come on, guys, let's get over ourselves a little bit. You might be overstimulated. I 100% believe in that. Sometimes life comes at us hard and heavy, and there are things all over the place going on that it's just like, I just need it all to slow down for a moment. And if you're in that spot, believe me, I'm there. I've been there. The best thing you can do, create the checklist. Take that video that I sent, okay? And just start to prioritize what needs to get done. See, overstimulation starts to kick in when that checklist starts to get 5 deep to 8 deep to 15 deep to 25 deep to 35 deep. And all of a sudden, you don't know where to start. That's where it kicks in. But we got to start checking off the checklist, getting the things done and moving ourselves forward. So then I'm going to tell you my next story. And I shared this on my master call yesterday because Ryan Miller and I were talking about the moments that are worth it. And Ryan Miller was talking about, I'm not going to take this away from him because he shared something really cool that only he shared with like a couple agencies so far. But it was just like being able to do things for your family that because you made it here, because you did the hard work, because you actually put the time, the energy, the effort to make things happen, that you got to do something. And it reminded me in that moment that the whole reason I came to Symmetry in the first place was to be able to travel, to impact, to do things. Like my first 4 months here, I made a major mistake. I made over $13,000 in a single month, 21 years old, 4 months in. And I just quickly yelled over to my grandma from the next room. I said, Grandma, we're going to Mexico. Totally killed my momentum there. Okay. But that was something that, like, regardless of it was a mistake, it was something that I wanted to do and I got to pay for. But I'm going to tell you the one other thing that kicked in. See, my grandma, she just recently passed away this past year, and she was an absolute fighter. Guys, when I first started, my grandma was GIWL from the get-go, from the jump. A1C of 14, insulin dependent, congestive heart failure, overweight, peripheral neuropathy, pacemaker, you name it. Now, mind you, I started at 21 in this thing. I'm gonna be 31 here in January. It was like she survived with all this stuff and more for like 10 to 15 years. Like, just shows how strong she was. It wasn't until the last 8 months of her life that she was pretty much bedridden. But before that, she was still up amid all of these health conditions. She would garden her little garden. She'd go out in her courtyard and have her little tea. She would go to the opportunity to take out the trash, or she was super handy out of nowhere. I'm like, Grandma, where'd you learn all this stuff? And she would saw stuff and rebuild her little cabinetry. Um, and one day I'm done running appointments. And with that, Jim, I come back home and I notice that, like, she's just very lethargic. And I'm just like, Grandma, why are you so like lethargic? It woke up at, like after I left, which would have been like 9 o'clock, 9:30. And then now you're like kind of tired again. Like, is everything okay? You good? And she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Like, don't worry about me." This sat left, right. And I'm like, "Well, what's going on? Like, tell me." And she's like, "Well, I haven't had insulin in 2 weeks." And I said, "Wait, what? A1C of 14, no insulin in 2 weeks. Gal can do the math. That's not a good situation." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, since I retired, the Medicare and Medicaid has yet to take over, so she was just living off her Social Security at the time. And Chase Bank, after she worked there for 30 years, was taking 6 months to get her retirement. So she was just stuck in a place where she could not afford anything else. And I looked over at her and I was said, bullshit, I'm gonna get it done. Where do I need to go? What do I need to do? What needs to happen? I don't even know where to buy insulin. I'm probably not off the street. That's probably not a good place to start, but where can I go, Grandma? And she said, it's just Cigna down the way. It was like a 5-minute drive. And guys, I paid for like 4 little bottles of insulin, like 2 grand. But I could do that because of the work that I got done here, because of the effort that I got done here. See, in a world where we're constantly overstimulated, constantly feeling like we have to stretch ourselves in every bitch direction, I'm telling you guys, what I want you guys to know that is when you're feeling those moments of low energy, if you're feeling like it's hard to do what's necessary, you really got to start looking inward as to why you came here in the first place to get it done. Stop thinking it's about just hitting the 5 dials, the $10 dials, the 15 dials. Stop thinking it's about hitting 50, 100, or 20 plus appointments. Okay. Start thinking about those dials allow you the opportunity to do X, Y, Z. Those dials allow you to go ahead and buy your grandma $2,000 worth of insulin on a whim. Those 2,000 dials, or sorry, those 15, 20 appointments give you the opportunity to go out there and buy that vacation that you've always wanted to do, to spend those days having coffee and breakfast with your family at the cabin. Whatever it is that you want, lean into that because it will help sift through everything else. And then learn to take that stress into that opportunity and turn it into energy for yourself. Jim, that's all I got, brother. I'm gonna pass it back.
Man, what I love those stories. I love the way that you framed those and lessons for us to be able to take away and learn. Right? Like I read so much history. Like it is my favorite thing. I mean, I'm going back 2000, 3000 years in history, like, and even down to like just a few generations ago. I love reading about people that came before. I think for me, a lot of it is trying to understand what is human nature,
Yep.
right? Like what are those things about us that span cultures, centuries, into like what spans, what is unique, or what is like the same about us. And when I look back, gosh, yeah, even go to our grandparents, Andrew. Like my great grandfather came over from Norway and worked 16 hours a day as a dock worker in Brooklyn. Like it was hard. Life was hard for people before us. And he worked that hard so that his son, my grandfather, came in, worked 2 full-time jobs so that my dad could be the first one to go to college. My dad goes to college, real smart with his money, opened up opportunities for me that no one in our family had. Now I'm going to be able to open up opportunities for my kids. And can I tell you the biggest haunting thing in that? I get so worried genuinely that these spoiled ass kids are going to learn the roots of hard that all of their privilege is built on. That haunts me. And so I take this responsibility on myself to not forget the hard, not forget the humble, not forget the grind, not forget getting my boots on the ground and working for something worth it, doing hard things because they're hard. Just because they're hard, because it's going to take me rising to a new level. It's going to take me learning something new. We play victim and we sit around waiting for a savior
Hmm.
so often in our culture, man. Your grandparents, your great great grandparents, your forefathers would listen to you whine about what you call hard. They wouldn't even understand the words coming out of your mouth if you call that hard. Like it's perspective, man. Even going back a couple of generations, it's perspective. So, yeah, appreciate that reminder today. That's good stuff.
Love, dude.
All right. Stop this recording. Breakout rooms opening up. I'm going to say, though,